Well, this has been a very interesting summer at the movies this year. So, I've decided to compilate a very short list of my favorite movies from summer 2012. Now, keep in mind that this is all opinion based. The list is once again very short, and what you may like, I may not like, and I've only seen a handful of movies this summer. So, without further ado, let's get on to my favorite movies from this summer. Let's start out with The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I have deeply enjoyed this movie, even though I felt that it wasn't as good as the first two Sam Raimi films, but I liked the direction they went with, and I like how they told the origin story of Spider-Man very differently, and it was also very entertaining to watch, and I actually thought the 3D wasn't bad at all, because usually 3D isn't good. So, yeah, the action was great, the story was great, being a mix of a comic book movie and a drama, which was very well blended, and the cast was good. Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy played by Emma Stone, and Reese Fens as Dr. Kurt Connors slash the Lizard. So that was great and all, and I thought this was a very entertaining movie. It's also a great comic book movie as well. Next, Ted. Ted was a big surprise for me because I know Seth MacFarlane is very good at comedy, being that he has three animated shows on right now: Family Guy, American Dad, and The Cleveland Show. And uh, this was actually pretty funny, and the cast was really well casted. They were good for what it was worth. Mark Wahlberg, Mila Kunis, and Seth MacFarlane being the voice of Ted. Now, a lot of people complain that the jokes in this movie were only funny coming from a teddy bear. They're not just funny because they're coming from a teddy bear. No, I mean the story is very heartfelt as well. I mean, a man and his teddy bear, you can't go wrong with that. And um, it is basically just trying to tell a story with a lot of jokes added into it because it's meant to be a comedy, and it was really funny. Seth MacFarlane's first comedy film on the big screen was actually very good. It was a pretty big hit, and I myself thought this was a very, very funny film, and I recommend it. And now, last but not least, do I have to mention The Dark Knight Rises? Yes, I love The Dark Knight Rises. Between Ted and The Amazing Spider-Man, this outshines them by far, being that I loved Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises is a completely grand finale to one of the greatest trilogies ever and one of the best comic book movie series ever. And the performances were great, with Christian Bale being great as Batman slash Bruce Wayne as always, and returning cast also good: Gary Oldman, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, and such. But the new cast members, such as Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the Blake, the police officer, and to my surprise, Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle slash Catwoman. But we must not forget Tom Hardy as Bane. He was very intimidating, and he certainly lived up to the Joker in my eyes. And the action was great. The storytelling was great, even though many people thought there were some problems. I actually thought there were not really any problems at all because of what it was trying to tell as a story as a whole. But yeah, Christopher Nolan has made a very good comic book trilogy, and Batman is always my favorite superhero, not only because of these films, but I love Batman in general. So, The Dark Knight Rises is my favorite film of summer 2012, and it's also my favorite film of the year so far. Alright, so this has been Random Random Man. I'll catch you later on the next movie review.